Bill Chambers on Facebook says that when these cold callers give him a ring, he says, "Just a minute." He then puts the phone down quietly at the side of the phone, then carries on doing what he was doing before they rang, goes back 20 minutes later and hangs up. That way you waste their time like they want to waste yours. Bill Chambers on Facebook, good on you. I would never have the cojones to do that. I think that's a very impressive way to deal with it. And I certainly wouldn't be able to do what Lee Beaumont has done. This is fantastic. Okay, it's Nick Ahad on BBC Radio Leeds. For the next hour, we're talking about cold callers, how you deal with them. You put your feet up, you got home from a long day at work, you're about to have a nice glass of beer, someone rings and says, "Have you ever considered swapping your energy user or considered double glazing?" No, I just want to sit here and watch a bit of telly. So how do you deal with them? Give me a call, 0845, I've forgotten the number, 0845 303 3333. You can text me, it's 81333, start your message with the word Leeds. Now, as I mentioned, Lee had a novel way of dealing with this. Lee spoke with Liz Green this morning, and I've asked him to come on again because I want him to explain it. It's a fascinating way of doing it. Lee, tell the listeners exactly what you did.
Well, it started in 2011. I was getting bombarded with PPI calls, and I was sick to death of them. But I was working nights, so I couldn't unplug the phone at the daytime in case my boss asked me to come in early. So I thought there must be a way to either stop them or make a few quid out of them.
Right.
I started looking into premium rate numbers. I didn't want an 09 number, because no one would call that anyway, because everyone knows you don't call 09 numbers. I settled on an 0871, so I could make 7p a minute.
Right.
So I set that phone up. I didn't pay like mental. You don't pay monthly or yearly, etc. for that. It's a one-off £10 payment plus VAT, and it sits on top of my normal 0113 Leeds number. I knew it would be hard to get out of there, because normally PPI companies just generate random UK phone numbers, and 0871 isn't a random UK phone number.
Right.
So what I did is I changed my gas, electricity, telephone line, broadband, council tax even Yorkshire Water. I removed my Leeds number, removed my mobile, and inserted my 0871 number. Legally, I had to tell them that it does cost 10p a minute.
Right.
I do make 7p a minute. But over the next 2 to 3 months, they was selling my details or passing my details on to third parties, and third parties passed on to PPI companies, and then the PPI calls stopped from the Leeds number and started on the 0871 number.
So, it's... Right, here's the thing. It's not illegal what you've done, but the Phone Pay Plus say that you shouldn't really be doing it. Were you ever worried you might get in trouble for doing this, Lee?
Nope. When I first started it, I contacted the regulator myself and explained what I was doing, and they didn't advise it. They went, "You're not breaking the code, or don't advise it."
Right.
I went, "Is there anything I need to do?" And they went, "Yeah, every time you advertise your number, make sure you put that 10p a minute."
Right.
So on my email signature, I have my number and I have the 10p a minute from BT Landlines. Mobiles may vary. When I tweet a company, I tweeted my online shopping company last week, asked them to call me. I inserted my 08 number and the 10p a minute clause, so they knew that they was ringing me and it would cost them 10p a minute.
So when someone rings you, is it the sort of first thing you have to say to him is, "Thanks for calling, this call will cost you X, 10p a minute," or whatever it is?
I don't need to say that.
You've already said it?
I make it clear that it will cost 10p a minute.
Right.
I give them the number, so I don't need to have the recorded message on the line saying it's costing 10p a minute.
Gosh. Now, Lee, you live up in Leeds, you're self-employed web designer.
I do.
And you've made some money out of this, haven't you?
I have. I've made just over £300 since November 2011.
Now listen, I'm because I work for the BBC, I'm going to neither encourage nor discourage what you're doing. However, I wonder if that feels quite nice to have made 300 quid out of these companies ringing you.
It does. Normal people don't ring it. They use my normal Leeds. I wouldn't do that to friends and family.
So you've got your other number as well?
Yeah.
So has it stopped the calls coming to your kind of regular 0113 number?
Yep, because when I got the 08 number installed, I changed my number with my telephone provider.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay.
But then I just give it to my parents and and a few friends, and then no one else has that 0113 number.
So you've actually got a very different take on this. Most of us get these phone calls saying, "Do you want to buy double glazing?" and we just get annoyed. You probably have a chat with them. You'll say, "Yeah, tell me all about your offers."
Legally, I can't purposely keep them on the phone because I would be breaking regulation then. But if they've got a strange accent, of the Scottish, for instance, or Welsh, or overseas, I can't ask them to repeat themselves 2 or 3 times because I can't understand the language very well. So I can do that, but legally I'm not allowed to ask them to just keep on the phone indefinitely.
Right. I think that's, it's a clever way of dealing with it, I'm sure. It sounds like clearly, this is quite an extreme thing that you've done. Not everyone's going to have the nous to do something like this. You were obviously driven to distraction. Is it because you just thought this will be a good way, or was it because you were just absolutely fed up of these calls?
Originally, I was getting when I was watching Coronation Street, and that was really winding me up.
And they interrupted Corrie.
I know. I was watching Vera die, and I got a PPI call. I was in tears. So my main focus was to stop them, but then I ended up making money out of it.
Right, and it's worked, hasn't it?
It's definitely worked. Like I said, I've been doing it since 2011, but the press got hold of it today, and the BBC.
Well, this is the thing. You're a Leeds lad. You're one of ours. We're claiming you.
Yeah.
But I know you're doing 5 Live. You've been on Radio 4. You talked to Liz Green on BBC Leeds this morning. You're a popular man today.
I'm on BBC Breakfast tomorrow as well.
You're on BBC. He's made it.
I'm dreading that.
You'll be fine. Hey, just be honest. Lee, stick there for a minute, because I've got David Hickson from the Fair Telecoms campaign. David, before I ask you about Lee's specific case, can you just explain what the Fair Telecoms campaign is?
Yeah, we campaign on all aspects of fairness in the world of telecom, simple as that. The main areas of focus are obviously the nuisance calls and also the misuse of expensive telephone numbers.
Right.
Now, I'm not sure we're going to have a go at Lee for misusing an expensive telephone number, because Lee is being very, very careful and he's very conscious of the regulations that apply. We wish all businesses were just as conscious in what they were doing. And as I think Lee knows, it's a bit of a minefield with regulations, and if you're going to do this sort of thing, you have got to be very, very careful not to be abusing the system. Our general view, obviously, is to discourage use of 0871 numbers in every case, and I'm reluctant to make an exception, but I'm not going to have a go at Lee, let's put it that way.
Well, I'm glad, because he's one of ours and we might stick up for him. But it does expose this. I think there's 2 things about Lee's story. First of all, it's great to hear the consumers getting one over the businesses, but it also exposes just how irritating it is to get these calls. Is there anything we can do about it without going to the same extremes that Lee has done?
The most important point, and I think you've made the point, is the fact that someone's driven to such extreme measures indicates how very frustrated people are at, in particular, you mentioned PPI, but there are an awful lot of other unsolicited calls that people suffer from. Work is being done in this area. The Culture, Media and Sport Committee of Parliament are beginning an inquiry into this to look at ways at how it can be done, and indeed we'll be giving evidence to them next Tuesday. So there is work being done to talk about this. My personal belief is that this has to be stopped at source.
Right.
The people who are making money out of phoning people up and getting leads, we should find a way of simply putting them out of business, so there's no money to be made for them in following this inappropriate way of trying to make money for themselves. That's what we've got to do. What we've got to do, in my belief, we've got to tackle things at source. A number of the people who I know Lee's in contact with are probably not really doing anything wrong. If he's prepared to offer them his number to contact him, then presumably he does want to hear from them at some point. So whether they really deserve a slap on the wrist, I'm not sure. If he offers his number to them,
well, exactly, he's not
maybe
really.
The fact they're passing it on to other people, and if as he says, he's getting PPI calls coming through on this 0871 number, then that clearly shows that somebody somewhere is passing it.
Well, there you go. Someone's
that's
exactly.
somebody else would need to look at.
Someone's taken his number. Lee, before I let you go off and go be even more famous than BBC Radio Leeds, is that encouraging for you? David says that the DCMS are going to be hearing evidence they want to do. It sounds like there's a will there to do something about this, and we don't all have to go and take out an 087 number. Is that encouraging to you, do you think? Because what you've done, you've brought this really into the spotlight, haven't you?
I have.
So are you happy that it might actually lead somewhere and we might get rid of these stupid calls?
Well, I think because of how much the BBC have jumped on this and how many, for instance, how many tweets I've had just this morning already, people know it is a problem. And we will eventually get rid of it. It won't be any time soon. I'm planning to do it for at least 2-3 years. And then I'm in my head, in about 3 years' time, this is when the PPI will stop, the solar panels will stop, double glazing.
Right.
It will all start slowing down then.
Well, fingers crossed. I hope it does. Lee, enjoy BBC Breakfast. We'll watch out for you. Thanks for calling in. Cheers, Lee. David, before I let you go, just tell me again. The DCMS are going to be taking evidence from you. It strikes me as quite an extreme measure to have to get the government involved to stop these companies doing anything. Is there anything that, as consumers, people power, is there anything more that we can do?
Just to answer that point, there is a structure of regulation in place at the moment which has been clearly seen to fail. What we have to do is look at that regulatory structure and see what improvements can be made. In my view, much of it needs to be set aside and a more strong regime introduced across it. The most important advice I would give to all of you listeners, I know this doesn't sound very helpful. For most of us, these nuisance calls are just an interruption to a busy life. If you've got the time and the energy and the concern that we've heard about from Lee, then fine, do something about it. For most people, my honest suggestion is just don't let it worry you. Don't let it steal more of your time and energy than it has already by causing you to answer the phone.
I understand, and that's a fair point, David, but honestly, our phones are lighting up in here. We've had texts from people have been talking to me on Twitter. It's not really, even though it seems a minor irritation, it's incredibly annoying. Lee was kind of being flippant when he said it interrupts Corrie, but these are intrusions in our life that we never asked for, and it's actually, frankly, quite impolite of them to interrupt our lives like that. So as much as you say it's a minor irritation, it's still an irritation we didn't ask for.
No, you're absolutely right. If we can do something about it, and we are putting on pressure through the government, through the regulators, and by other means as well, this is what the Fair Telecoms campaign is about. It's a means of focusing this energy into practical steps that can be taken. Obviously, what Lee's done is giving him some satisfaction in doing it. I'm not sure that's a way that's available and good for everybody.
Right.
So there may be things that individuals can do, but mostly what I feel we have to do is deal with this at source, get to the companies behind this, using the power of government, using the power of the regulators, and see if we can root this out. And that's what we're doing our very best to press to do. I wish I could help people more than we can.
Well, keep up the good work. Thanks for joining us today. That's David Hickson from the Fair Telecoms campaign. How do you deal with your nuisance callers? Give me a call, 0845 303 3333. You can text me, it's 81333. Start your message with the word Leeds. Ruby has got in touch. She says, hi Nick, hello Ruby, I have a caller display, so don't bother answering if it's a number I don't know. They do eventually give up calling after a number of attempts until a few weeks later when I'll get some other company calling. Ruby, I admire the fact that you were able to ignore it. I didn't have a landline for ages. I just used my mobile. Then I got a landline put in. And the thing was, I'd let it ring and ring, but that was really, really irritating. And they'd ring me on a Saturday morning or, when I was trying to have a lie-in. So I get that you can ignore it, Ruby, and that's great, but I still think it's an interruption that I could do without. Chris Oxley's got a great one. Chris Oxley says, a way that he heard to deal with cold callers was to tell them you had some good news, then read them long extracts from the Bible. Loving that one, Chris Oxley. Thanks for getting in touch on Twitter. It's @NickAhad. How do you deal with nuisance callers? I'm on 0845 303 3333. You can text me. It's 81333. Start your message with the word Leeds. Now, as ever, I'm going to tell you that I love every song that I'm playing. I really do, because I've got an absolute belter for you now. Enjoy this.